Greetings, everyone. Yeah, sorry for being so quiet on YouTube. I think I haven't posted something in like a year or two, maybe three. I don't know. But yeah, my nickname is the Caveman because normally when I go into my cave and I come back, it's normally like 2, 3, or 4 years later. So yeah. No, the thing that has been keeping me busy is work, obviously. And then obviously studies, and then also the other thing is I'm also busy right now I'm busy proofreading my book. Okay, so I'm also busy writing a book, and I'm just going to read a little vignette, a little snippet from the book. It's, for now, let's call it a chapter. The chapter is called Epistemology, né? And essentially speaking, what I'm saying here is epistemologists, né? They study the nature, origin, and scope of knowledge. Metacognition deals with knowledge about your knowledge. Hermeneutics deals with the lens through which you look when making interpretations of reality as is. Reductionism deals with a simplified interpretation of a complex system. Analysis is the process of reducing a system into its parts and studying those parts individually, trying to deeply understand its constituents. Synthesis, however, is the inverse of analysis. Simply put, when you design a system, this is normally done via the amalgamation of individual parts or elements in a unique arrangement. Knowledge then comes from a deep comprehension of the elements that make up a system. Simply put, the greater your comprehension of the elements that make up a system, the greater your knowledge. The smaller the elements you comprehend, the more accurate your knowledge. Knowledge increases from the system down to its parts. Understanding then operate and functions in the diametrically opposite direction. In the diametrically opposite direction. I don't have my glasses on, so yeah, so you'll have to forgive me if I put my glasses on, then yeah, so that's why. Simply put, understanding increase from the direction of the elements up to the systems level and types of systems they amalgamate into. Reductionism demands knowledge, expansionism demands understanding. That's what I'm basically doing is with the book is I'm trying to capture my worldview, okay, and then I'm trying to describe it using words. When I say worldview, what I mean is the mechanics of how I am thinking as an individual, okay. So there's a certain way how I think. Now, obviously, when I say there's a certain way how I think, that's actually what this video is about. What's happening there is in the book, I talk about mechanistic thinking. Like one of the topics here that I talk about, it's called the philosophical theory of mechanism. Now, when I talk about the philosophical theory of mechanism, there, essentially speaking, the thing that I'm trying to get at, just to give you a little tidbit, a little snippet, taste of this little vignette. It states here there are, mentally speaking, various ways in which individuals think and form ideas, simply meaning patterns of thought. Okay, there's an expansionist worldview. Equally so, there's a reductionist worldview. There are different levels of logic, simply meaning reasoning capabilities. Okay, which range anywhere from reductive, deductive to inductive logic. Okay, this, by the way, that I'm saying here, it should be common sense for every individual who has intellectual aspirations. So yeah, now, okay, obviously you have to read the book after I'm done with it, but in a very simple sense of the word, nah, some of the stuff I talk about is you basically have, let's say for instance, your acorn and oak analysis that I'm making. Analogy, not analysis. It is an analysis based on that analogy, okay? And then, yeah, essentially speaking, when we talk about mechanistic thinking and systems thinking, or systemic thinking. With mechanistic thinking, what I mean is you have people who view the world as a cause-effect machine, okay? A cause-effect machine simply meaning this thing is the cause of this specific thing. So this is the cause, this is the effect. That's mechanistic thinking. Mechanistic thinking, it talks about, let's say something happens, then that something wouldn't have happened. Let's say the result always has like something that's preceding it. A typical example would be, let's say the light is on. That's an effect. What is the cause? The cause is someone switched it on. I mean, that should be common sense. But then in the book, I actually go deeper as to explain that you actually have, okay, this is, yeah, philosophical theory of mechanism. Yeah, where I then go into systemic thinking. Systemic thinking simply meaning there comes a part when you study reality where it's not necessarily bound to a cause-effect dynamic. A simple example would be, let's say you have a seed, okay? Let's say you have apple seed or whatever, okay? That could be seen in a mechanistic context as, the input and the fruit being the output, or that being the cause and then the fruit being the effect. But here's the thing. In such a case, if you have seed and you have fruit as a product, produce a product, that's what it's called in the book. You don't go directly from producer to product. You don't go directly from seed to fruit. There's something in between. And going from seed to fruit, it's a very, for now, let's call it a complex setup, because it's not simple. It's not a if this then that type of a thing. So what then happens is then you have to introduce something called an environment, because here's the thing. If you take seed and you leave it, in your windowsill, or you leave it somewhere in a jacket pocket or something, it's not going to magically, convert or turn into a tree, a fruit tree to be more specific. There's something called environment. So simply meaning, when we look at producer product, then from a systemic view or a systemic analysis of what it is that I'm trying to say, deals with the environment component, is to say you then need environment for you to complete that equation. So it's not that this equals that, it's a this plus something. In this case, that something being an environment, okay? And then you have producer plus environment equals product. So that's far more than this mechanistic interpretation of reality where this thing equates into that thing, okay? So that's also something the book does talk about. Obviously, I talk about non-deterministic causality. I talk about initial conditions and end results. I talk about deterministic systems. Like here, I'm stating, kindly note there's an unobvious contradiction, because causality implies determinism, not non-determinism. Consequence, according to Greek philosophers, is a result of precedence. Okay, simply meaning that non-determinism equates into non-causality. This notion is understood as an axiom of fundamental logic. And then I give an example. A basic example is, all engineers are good at math, are good at, let's say, mathematics, okay? But then I state, note, if the above statement is true, then it follows that you're not an engineer if you are not good at math, okay? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and then I talk about the producer product concept, how the producer is necessary but insufficient for its product. So yeah, this part of the book, it actually becomes very technical, because remember, this is like years of research and stuff that went into this. So yeah, so that's the main thing that has been keeping me busy. But what's happening is, the book, I'm basically just wrapping it up. I'm wrapping up like the writing aspect of the book. Like I said, right now the book, it's in proofreading phase. After proofreading, Then I just have to sort out some paper related stuff, administrative tasks associated with the book, such as ISBN number, sending it to be filed in the public library database, and then we can talk about printing. Yes. So, yeah, I also talk about metacognition. I talk about dual burden, agency versus medium. Yeah, I basically talk about a lot of things here. So, yeah. Yeah, this is actually something where, as much as I'm excited about it, I actually can't wait for all of this to be over. So, yeah.